Okay, hello and welcome. January 21st, I'm going to say 2011. Welcome to the brand new Pixel Response movie related podcast. We'll probably change the name at some point, but that's all we got for now. I'm Nathan, amateur film critic at Beetroot, and very seldom contributor, like one or two things to Pixel Response. I apologize for that. Paul is the headmaster of that thing. How are you doing?
Yeah, not too bad. How are you doing today?
I'm pretty good, I'm gonna say. Playing a lot of video games, but that's not what we're here to talk about at all. We're not gonna mention those
No,
pesky.
well, we're going to try our best not to. There's another podcast that you can hear about that on.
Yes, I'm not gonna plug it here. I don't think, but whatever. Actually, sure, why not? It's called Top Down Perspective. It's fun. You've been
Shameless
on there
plug.
one time. Sorry. But anyway, we're here to talk about movies, specifically movies we've seen lately, and then also just whatever recent news pertaining to movies has come up lately. Um, yeah, I don't know. I think we're just doing this because we love movies and want to talk about them.
Yeah,
We
pretty
see a lot,
much.
so.
All right, well, good place to start, I guess. What have you been watching recently?
Oh, okay. It was a little more than a week ago, I'm going to be honest, but it's not out yet. This was for review. It's Peter Weir's latest movie, The Way Back.
Okay, I've kind of heard about this, but why don't you go ahead and explain a little bit about what's going on?
You're familiar with Peter Weir, though, the Truman Show, and
Yeah,
Gallipoli. His last movie, Master and Commander, I saw like 7 years ago. That was 7 years ago.
7 years ago?
Yeah, dude hasn't made a movie since then, so.
And yet I still didn't want to see it, so.
It's okay from what I remember. I was a younger man.
There was a different time and you were a different person?
Very much so, but I still kind of liked ships back then, and there was some cool ship combat in that.
And I
like
mean Russell Crowe.
I like Russell Crowe, and Paul Bettany was in there, and he was doing what he does best, which is being a supporting character.
Yeah, I honestly didn't know anything about that movie except for Russell Crowe's in it.
Yeah, and okay. We're not here to talk about Master Commander, though, because I can't remember other than a kid's leg gets cut off. This is The Way Back, which is a true story, I guess, about one of those gulags, Stalin. He had prisons back in the day, like work camps.
Well, this is news to me, but go on.
Okay, so really unpleasant labor camps, and it's kind of about a miraculous escape story where, like the movie opens with some just kind of title, like just kind of text up on the screen. It says like in 1942 or whatever, I think it was 42, maybe 41. Three men walked out of the Himalayas into India after having walked like 4,000 miles or whatever from Siberia. Start movie. So I guess do you know who Jim Sturgis is? He's not an amazing actor, but
Name sounds familiar. I can't put a face to it, though.
21 is Kevin Spacey.
Yes, okay. I know who you're talking about.
And
Anyways, go
he
on.
was fake Paul McCartney in Across the Universe.
Right, yeah,
Which
I
I
know
never saw.
exactly who you're talking about. That's a good movie, by the way.
Okay. I like Colors and the Beatles, so maybe I'll like it.
Do you
anyway.
like Beatles covers?
See, I don't know about that. It depends.
Okay, it might be iffy with you then. But I mean, I don't know. It was alright. It was pretty much what you would expect. They put Beatles music and like try to make a movie out of it, but it's kind of colorful. And we're not here to talk about that. Go on.
Okay. I was gonna just be like, how does he handle British accent, Polish accent? That's what I was gonna do, but whatever. He plays a Polish guy named Janosz, whose wife kind of testifies against him because she was tortured a lot. She didn't want to, obviously, and he gets sent to a gulag as a spy. Immediately wants to bust out. Meets up with some colorful characters, including Ed Harris as Mr. Smith. Like he just calls himself that. I thought Ed Harris was awesome in this movie. I'm just gonna say that right
As he
now.
usually is, in my opinion.
I rather like Ed Harris, yeah. Like other favorite roles for me would probably be like History of Violence and Apollo 13, I guess. Just off the top of my head. Right Stuff. I don't know. He's pretty great. And this plays kind of off of his whole solemn, kind of stern but strong kind of thing he has going on pretty well. He's an American dude who's also trapped there. Mark Strong is in the movie briefly. He's kind of a guy who helps Janosch set up his escape plan, but then turns out he's kind of been there for a long time and just does it to keep himself busy, so he doesn't actually join them. Colin Farrell's in the movie, which, like, if you'd asked me 6 years ago, I would have been upset about that, but I thought In Bruges was a pretty good movie, so an okay, he's in an okay place with me right now. Yeah.
Right on.
Thoughts on Colin Farrell? Sorry.
Sorry, what was that?
Thoughts on Colin Farrell, just as a dude. Just wondering how you feel about him, because that might affect.
Yeah, he was definitely bullseye.
I hated. Yeah, I wasn't a fan of that. But anyway, his part in the movie is kind of weird. Like, it's probably my least favorite performance in the movie, mainly just because it's a really one-note character. He's just kind of the suspicious guy who's like, "We're gonna have to eat you." I guess I should explain the premise. These dudes all escape, and then there's kind of a band of like 8 guys just kind of surviving against the elements and stuff, like blizzards, running out of food, having to fight wolves and stuff.
So it's a very, like, survivalist movie.
Yeah, but like my favorite part about it is they totally shoot on location for like 90% of it, which I kind of forgot how awesome that can be because of all the CG movies I've seen lately.
Yeah.
Like, I was thinking, like, at some point they're just in this desert and it's just kind of bleak and very, I don't know. I haven't been to many deserts, so I was kind of just impressed by the scale of it. And I was just thinking, like, man, those floating mountains in Avatar are super lame in comparison because they're just so fake. There's nothing there. It's just lies and trickery. Whereas this is just, hey, check out this sweet mountain or whatever,
Yeah, and Colin Farrell.
Colin Farrell. Actually, Colin Farrell, despite being kind of one of the more noteworthy names in the cast, he's kind of leaves the movie like an hour in, which was really weird. Not really spoilers. That happens. I'm not gonna say what the fate of his character is because it's kind of weird, but yeah, that was kind of the main thing with the movie is like you start with like 8 survivors, and then since the movie opened saying 3 people made it, you're kind of like always in suspense as to who's gonna die or get like something bad's gonna happen, like the whole movie. And indeed, some bad stuff does, and those moments were pretty good.
So, do they build up to these bad moments, or are they just kind of out of nowhere, like all of a sudden
It's just kind of always in the back of your minds. And there's some good, just kind of like thrilling little sequences where you think something bad's gonna happen, or like a big sandstorm happens, or whatever. Or the food situation's really bad. Really, a lot of it is just like it's just them versus the elements. So it's just they have to walk 1,000 miles across a desert. That's pretty gnarly. So they see an oasis or whatever and flip out. And then just feet getting all super swollen and disgusting looking. And I guess one thing in my written review, which is Beetroot, I'm going to say that. It's a local magazine thing plus website. I forgot to mention the kind of makeup stuff. They do weathered faces really well. Like, just the sun and the sand beating against these dudes' faces, like, you can just see their skin kind of peeling off, which looked really authentic. So I was kind of impressed by that too. Yeah, I don't know. I was generally really, really pleased with the movie. Like, it kind of reminded me of old kind of conventional epic stories, kind of like a David Lean type stuff or whatever, like Lawrence of Arabia kind of thing. Which I haven't seen a movie like that in quite a while, so I was quite pleased with it. Kind of slow paced though, like for those who are kind of antsy about that kind of stuff. Like, there's some long stretches where it's just like, no, they're just kind of walking through this desert for like 5 minutes.
Is it a good long pace though? Like, does it build good?
Like, it just kind of gets dreary and kind of sad in a way that makes sense to what's going on. Like, they kind of, like, characters just kind of like wither under the elements and stuff. So it feels appropriate. I was never kind of like getting restless because nothing was going on. It's just kind of stuff happens at a set pace. It's like 2 hours and 15 minutes or something. I don't know. I had no problems with the pacing of it. It kind of had that meditation on nature thing that like a Terrence Malick movie might have. I don't know if you've seen Thin Red Line.
Yes, I did a long time ago. At the time, I didn't really appreciate it for what it was, but after you watch it again and realize that it's not really a war movie,
Yeah.
it is really well done.
Yeah, I've only seen it the one time, and I mean to go back because I've kind of learned what it was trying to do. But that first time through, like, just like, why are we just looking at this bird? What's going on? Why is this just this like swamp? I don't what. There's dudes fighting. It kind of has that same kind of pace to it, but it's always kind of the journey of the characters is always at the forefront and stuff. Saoirse Ronan's in it too. The girl in Lovely Bones and Atonement.
Yeah, I haven't seen Lovely Bones yet, though.
It's it's not great, but I'm kind of one of the few apologists in that I thought it had some cool stuff in it. I saw it with a friend of mine who hated it.
Well, it's based on that book, right, of the same name.
Yeah, and I like Pete Jackson. That guy's okay.
Yeah, he does okay stuff.
But yeah, I guess just concluding thoughts. It's really awesome. I was really surprised a good movie is actually coming out in January. That doesn't usually happen. So if it shows up in your neck of the woods, I heartily endorse it. Sorry, I talked for a bit. What's the first film on your list of stuff you've seen?
First film on my list actually is a movie I had been wanting to watch for a long time, called Adventureland.
Oh yeah,
yeah,
I love that movie.
Yeah, it's actually really good. I didn't think it'd be as good as it was, but I was pretty surprised. Made by same guy that does Superbad, or what's his name now?
Greg Mottola.
Mottola, that's right. Yeah.
Upcoming movie Paul with Simon Pegg and them.
Yeah, that's one I do want to see at some point, but I don't know when.
I hope that turns out well. The trailer didn't inspire me, but whatever. Yeah, Adventureland. Jesse Eisenberg.
Yeah, he does a really good performance, and actually, one of the people I really, really don't like is in Adventureland, and I'm pretty sure you know who that is.
Yeah,
Kristen Stewart. Anyways, but
no, we should talk about Kristen Stewart because she's kind of amazing in that movie. In that she I don't know, she touches her hair like 60 times. I don't know if you noticed.
Oh yeah,
kind of awesome.
Yeah.
But that was kind of my first, that's the first place I saw her really. So that's what I think of. I don't think of Twilight at all because I didn't see those until later.
So you got a really good impression of her to begin with. Yeah,
she's like kind of in my good books now, despite all that stuff. So just wanted to put that out there.
Well, I mean, technically, the first movie you might have seen her in was Panic Room.
You're right. I did totally see that movie.
And she was okay in that.
Forgot she was in it. And I was about to rewatch that this week, actually, because that's a solid little movie.
Yeah,
it's not that bad.
You know that whole, confined spaces thing? It does that really well.
Yeah. And, Fincher just kind of having fun. Not doing anything serious. Just house is broken into. Bad stuff happens.
Well, I mean, I would watch anything that Fincher does.
Yeah, no, yeah. I didn't like Curious Case, though. I'm just going to say that. But
why is that?
I don't know. Something about it was just kind of too corny or something. Like, the framing narrative device of that movie really didn't sit well with me for some reason.
But yet, you liked Zodiac.
Yeah, that movie's great. That movie's a great movie.
Yeah,
what's
it's not too bad.
Oh no, in general I really like Fincher. I consider that kind of his weird misstep for me. But
they all have him.
Do we want to get into specifics about Adventureland or coming of age story, 80s?
Not really. I don't know. It's 2 years old now. It's pretty old now.
You're right. I rewatched it a few months ago in light of Social Network. I just kind of wanted to.
Right, and that's why I watched it too. Jesse Eisenberg does a fantastic job as usual. Kristen Stewart's good in that movie. I don't like her usually, so to hear me say that I didn't mind her is actually a really huge compliment. I don't like Ryan Reynolds generally. I think he did a pretty okay job as the kind of creepy dirtbag.
Yeah.
Actually, I think he did a better job as the creepy dirtbag than he usually does as the comic relief, but I mean, that's just me. Bill Hader is always one of my favorite guys, and it was nice to see Martin Starr get some work again.
Yeah. And Bill Hader with mustache also. So
I keep remembering that one part where that guy is attacking, chasing him, and he comes out with a bat.
Yeah.
Yeah, just
there's some the marketing for that movie kind of billed it as just a wacky comedy, which wasn't really fair because it didn't really do well as a result.
No, it's definitely a dark comedy.
Yeah, there's some funny stuff though.
Yeah.
But, yeah. Anyway, sorry, I just don't want to dwell.
Yeah, no, I don't want to spend too much time on that personally, but yeah, I mean that was notable because I hadn't seen it yet and I really enjoyed it. So yeah.
I guess for me, I rewatched the Book of Eli, the Denzel Washington, Gary Oldman.
Okay, I loved that movie. Like it sits in a weird place in my heart where I really like it, but there's some really bad things with that movie too.
What would you consider bad things? I guess we shouldn't probably get into specific spoiler stuff because there is kind of one big one in that movie that I knew actually before I even saw it.
Yeah. Well, it does. I don't know. It has a tone going for it, which it does really well, and then it breaks it in a lot of parts that I don't know if they were intentionally trying to be corny or maybe Mila Kunis is just a crappy actress.
I don't think that's fair. I mean, she's okay. Like Black Swan especially, but you haven't seen that yet.
Yeah, don't remind me. Anyway.
She kind of steps up her game. You should see that. It's a solid movie.
Yeah, I really want to see it.
Intense, though. But anyway, I haven't seen that in a while. We'll probably talk about it sometime soon. But, so, sorry, you're talking about a tone shift? Like, does it get too goofy and actiony or something, or...?
In some spots, but yet the actiony parts are really well done still. It's just kind of weird. There's one thing that sticks out in my mind in that, and I don't know how to say it without giving something away.
A minor spoiler.
Minor spoiler. Mila Kunis, throws a knife into the ground, or, jabs into the ground. When they're like, what are you going to do now? She's like, I have some unfinished business or something like that. I found, just little things like that that just make it seem a little goofier than it needs to be.
Like the note it ends on, kind of?
Yeah, that's a big one. Yeah.
That was, there's some weird corny stuff, yeah, but I don't know. I still had a reasonably good time with it. I kind of like the Hughes brothers. I don't know why, though, because I don't really like any of their previous movies. I just like the idea of brothers making movies. I don't know.
You didn't like Dead Presidents?
From Hell was okay looking. You know, I never saw Dead Presidents, and I've heard it's good.
I really suggest you check that one out.
And I've been trying to see Menace to Society for a while. Like, I watched Boys in the Hood, like the other Hood drama from that era, and I was thinking about seeing Menace to Society, but I still haven't done that.
I don't think Menace to Society is as good, but...
as Boys, or as their other movies?
Sorry?
As Boys in the Hood, or...
As Boys in the Hood. Dead Presidents is probably my favorite movie of theirs. It's really good.
Okay. Is it like a heist movie? Is that fair? Okay. I can go for one of those every now and then. But yeah, some of the action scenes they do in this movie I thought was pretty cool. Like, there's kind of this big assault on this house, and they kind of just keep doing this CG kind of spinning. Kind of Michael Bay style, but a little slower and a little...
more subdued.
Yeah.
Less more artsy, less bang bang.
But still kind of crazy. Like, there's cannibals and rocket launchers and whatever.
That movie reminds me of Fallout.
Yeah.
Which is a really good thing.
Yeah, it's a solid... I mean, the guy who wrote it was an editor for PC Gamer, so he's probably played him some Fallout. I wouldn't doubt that played some role in the inspiration for that. Gary Whitta, I'm just going to say it. I don't know why I was dancing around that. And yeah, I was never a big Denzel fan, really. Like, nothing about him really grabbed me previous. I'm sorry to say, but he was solid. He was a good, kind of stern, man with no name kind of guy with a machete.
Yeah.
Good movie.
Yeah, he does that role well. Like, he kind of did that in Man on Fire as well.
I've recently been told that's a great movie. I haven't ever seen it.
That's probably my favorite movie that he's in. That's a buy, a blind buy.
Okay. People are saying going around Tony Scott's best movie and stuff. So I'm intrigued.
Yeah, I would agree with that too.
Okay. That was next on your list, I guess?
Next one is one that is going to be hard to talk about without giving away some spoilers. It's a little documentary Um, don't know if it's actually a documentary. It's called Catfish.
Okay, yeah. I have that. I haven't watched it yet though. So,
Do you know anything about it?
I only know as much as the trailer told me. I've managed to stay away from the big reveal as to what's actually going on. So,
Okay, so I found out about the reveal accidentally, actually, on the internet, because the internet's really good for pouring and screwing things up with
yeah,
spoilers.
I'm okay with
Um,
that.
yeah,
Like,
anyways, it knowing the end does not take away from the journey, so that's a good thing. I'm
uh-huh.
not going to say what the end is. Basically, it's a movie about, um, I don't even know how to go into this. Basically, two guys are filming one of the filmmakers' little brother, Neve, or whatever. He's a New York photographer, like an amateur photographer. He takes pictures of like ballerinas and random stuff for like a local paper that no one reads. Anyways,
Okay.
this photo makes its way to this little girl named Meg, is it?
Mhm.
Something like that. Um, Abby, I don't know, something like that. Anyway, she's like a 10-year-old that paints, and she painted a copy of his photograph and sent it to him. And they start talking online because she wants more pictures and blah blah blah. And he gets to know this whole family via Facebook. And yeah, it's actually pretty intriguing. The
Like where it goes from there.
where it
Is that
goes from there. Basically, the as he keeps talking to them, he builds a relationship with the older sister. He starts listening to like the music that her quote unquote older brother does, and like starts talking with her mother and stuff like that. He becomes like really tight with this family, and then it starts falling apart when he realizes that some things might be mistruths or lies.
Yeah, the trailer definitely kind of gets into that a little bit, hints at it.
Right. And then, of course, what they decide to do is, go and confront them and see what's going on. I'm not going to give away too much because the journey is, like, half the thing. Yeah, it's good. I probably won't watch it again, but yeah, it's pretty powerful, I guess.
There's not really that many documentaries you watch again, to be fair. Like King of Kong is one of the few for me, just because it's funny.
Yeah, I've put in a few Michael Moore ones, mainly
I,
ironically.
I I think I've seen Bowling for Columbine like twice or something, but yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one too. Yeah, I don't know. It's really good. Yeah, it's worth a watch if you have some time to spare.
The one critique I was hearing about it is it's very amateur in its approach. Like the filming is kind of jarring because it's just a dude with a handheld camera and stuff,
right,
and
and the cuts are kind of weird, where like they'll be talking about something and then it'll just cut to something else.
like it's just like a home video reel, but something
But that's
interesting
kind of
happens.
the appeal with it in my mind too. I don't know.
Okay.
It wasn't too bad, but maybe I've just been watching too many shaky cam stuff. I didn't really notice a
Well, I'm
problem.
not usually bothered by shaky cam. It's more just kind of the idea of like yeah, bad cuts and not really clear narrative or whatever. Not that a documentary should really have a narrative, but I don't know. But I'll definitely watch it with an open mind. I would just yeah,
Yeah, you
that's kind of what
definitely
I've been
should.
hearing.
What's next on your list?
Um. Oh yeah, just something I watched for class that I'd never seen before. A Blow Up. It's a Michael Antonioni movie from the '60s. I'd never heard of it before I walked into that class. Had any familiarity with that or?
No, not at all.
Okay. I won't dwell on it really. It was a weird little movie. Kind of has a nice mid movie kind of twist of sorts, but then it doesn't really do with that what it you'd think. It's about this fashion photographer in like London who's just kind of living this fast-paced life and taking photos, and he's not really like there's attractive women around him all the time, but he doesn't really care because that's his day to day and stuff. Um, and then at some point, like he's taking photos of this woman in the park, and something mysterious may have happened, but
May have happened.
maybe may have not. And then there's a bunch of mimes in a truck. It's weird, but I was like about the halfway point, I was getting kind of bored with it, and then it introduces this new narrative hook in there, and it pulled me through the rest of it, and it's kind of neat. It's kind of cool. I don't know. But yeah, we won't really talk that much about it. I'm not super familiar with Antonioni as a director, so
I've never heard the name before.
okay, he was Italian dude, obviously. Apparently he did some Jack Nicholson movie called The Passenger. I don't know, like based on this movie, I might watch a couple more. Just there's some interesting kind of approach to what he's doing. But yeah, again, we won't really dwell on it because we're not really qualified.
Yeah.
What what's next on your list?
Little ditty called Devil.
Oh yeah,
Part of the, what's it called, Night Stories by M. Night Shyamalan.
Chronicles. Yeah, you asked me how I felt about it on Facebook, and I never replied because a friend of mine on Facebook is a big fan of that movie, and I was not. But
okay, why don't we discuss it a little bit, because there's some things I really liked and some things that I felt could have done better to make the movie overall better.
Yeah, okay. I like the opening shot. I'm gonna say that it's upside down and it's weird.
Yeah.
It's kind of cool.
Actually, in general, I really liked a lot of the cinematography in that. It's pretty good. It has a good look. That whole like confined space thing, it does okay. I think it could have done it a little bit better, but I don't know how.
I think maybe like the constant cuts outside of the elevator didn't really help much, but that was kind of they were trying to tie together two different stories, like the security guards watching it and the people in the elevator, like and how their fates are intertwined or whatever.
Right, and it makes sense from like a storytelling standpoint and like a filmmaker standpoint, but I would have liked to maybe see less of that personally. I think it would have been more interesting artistically if they had stayed more within the confines of like what's going on in the elevator and not focus so much on like the cop and blah blah blah. Anyways, that's neither
I'm trying to think
there.
of ways to restructure it, like maybe do the first 45 minutes are from the inside and the next are from the outside, and then you see how they interrelate or something. I don't know.
I will say one thing. I knew exactly
an idea. It's free.
Who. Yeah, I knew exactly who was the
devil
person.
Was or whatever?
Yeah, like
really?
right away. Yep.
Okay, because that was the one thing, like, me and my friend were kind of debating the whole time. Because, like, based on the trailer, we had a guess as to who it was, and we're like, yeah, it's totally that guy. And we were wrong. So.
Well, there's one thing that made me know who it was, and it's so dumb and little. It's when one character does something at the very, very beginning, and it's just kind of like, wow, why did they do that? Well... minor spoiler, I guess, or major spoiler, depending how you look at it.
We'll keep it vague, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay.
One of the characters...
I know what you're talking about, so...
One of the characters made sure they were in that elevator. I'm just going to say that. That could be actually one of three or of the four of them, so that's not a huge spoiler.
That's not a huge thing, sure.
Yeah. But yeah, one of them... The one made sure they were on that elevator when they had an opportunity. Anyways...
Yeah, okay.
It was just that. That was the only thing.
Okay, I had some issues with there's like the Spanish security guard guy, who's just like the most kind of just classic Catholic kind of stereotype. In a way, I was just kind of like, oh, come on, guys, really?
Yeah, like the minute the face comes up, he starts praying.
Yeah, he's a lot of weird dialogue. I can't remember the specific. There's a specific line that he drops that was just really, really corny. But I mean, stereotypical Catholics is kind of a thing with Shyamalan, I guess. Not that it's fair to blame him for the whole movie because he didn't actually direct it or anything. He just wrote. I think he just came up with a story premise, and then they went from there.
Car crashes are the major theme in his stuff too.
I can think of the specific in Signs, but
wasn't there in Lady in the Water too?
Oh man, I hate that movie. I don't know.
Okay, let's not talk about it.
I do want to say Village is a great movie though. I'm just gonna throw that out there.
Disagreed, but not for the reasons everyone else does. I just personally didn't find it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought the acting was solid and there's some good cinematography. The twist thing is the big thing everyone gets hung up on Shyamalan stuff. The one in Devil, I don't know. Whatever. I didn't really get that. I didn't really care about the characters, so it didn't really matter.
Okay, what was the twist to you? Because the twist to me was the end, really, like the very, very ending with the cop and the guy.
Yeah. Not like who
Okay.
the devil was. That's just kind of like, oh, okay, fine, whatever. But then kind of like, yeah, how their two stories were tied together, I feel was kind of the big twist.
But
Which I
see,
think we just kind of spoiled something, maybe. I don't know.
no, I don't think so.
Hey, guess what? This story isn't pointless, I guess. Like, two stories connect. Oh no.
Yeah, the
Um,
twist you're talking about isn't even the twist I'm talking about. It's the fact
okay.
that the cop, at like the very, very end, like last scene, where the two of them are talking, and the cop, like, you know,
Uh, I
you
don't really, I
like
wasn't
all your
super invested in
instincts
it.
go towards that he's gonna do something
Oh,
rash, but
right.
instead he's very calm and
Okay,
level-headed. I found
sure.
that to be more of the twist, personally.
Okay, I guess so. It does something different with its twist than you'd think, maybe. I don't
Yeah,
know.
because usually things go in the other direction, I find, but maybe that's just me.
Okay. Any other thoughts on Devil, really? Like, final verdict on it? Did you like it?
Yes, rent it.
It's like
That's
85 minutes or something.
that's really it. Rent it. See it for free on Netflix if you can.
I could see that being kind of like a decent movie to have in the background of like a party or something. They're just like, "What's this? What's going on?" And
Yeah,
it's just like, "Oh, it's totally that guy. He's evil." And it's just like, "Oh, whatever." And then something silly happens at the end, and you're just like, oh, "All right, 85 minutes, reasonably well spent." But I don't know, like the notion of paying 12.75 or whatever, I wouldn't have done that. So it'd probably be a pretty middling review from me had that been what I did.
right. It's good for a watch, but I wouldn't own it or anything. But anyways, what's your next one?
Another upcoming movie, The Company Men, with Ben Affleck, Kevin Costner, Tommy Lee Jones, and Chris Cooper.
Wow, that's quite the ragtag group they got there.
Yeah, and I kind of like some of those actors a fair amount.
Tommy Lee Jones is still alive.
Yeah, he is. I haven't really seen him since No Country, but he's apparently still here doing some stuff.
Has he been in
Um,
anything since Old Country or No Country for Old Men?
uh, nothing I have seen. Oh wait, when did that Paul Haggis movie come out? That one he was nominated for an Oscar for. That was kind of a mopey drama about the Iraq War.
Uh,
I think
Valley
that might
of
have been
Elah.
right. That might have actually been the same
That
year.
was the
Here,
same year.
I'm just gonna check his recent works. Um,
But yeah, anyways, just to while you do that, what do you
in
think of
the
Ben
Electric
Affleck? Because I
Mist.
know he gets a lot of hate, but I kind of like the dude.
As an actor or director or both, kind of at this point.
Just I don't know, in the industry period, I don't mind a lot of stuff he's done. I mean, every actor has some blotches on their resume, but I think he gets
Yeah,
more rap than he deserves personally.
I think he's coming out of that now. Like, I mean, The Town was a totally entertaining movie, and critics really liked it. It did well at the box office. I think he's in the clear now, and I liked Gone Baby Gone well enough. I haven't seen it in a while, but he's a solid filmmaker. I still don't know how I feel about him as an actor because there were a couple scenes in The Town that depended on him that I thought were kind of corny, but that might have just been the dialogue. I don't know.
Right.
But anyway, in Company Men, okay, like I just said it in my review, but here's basically the thing as well. Like the acting is fine. The cinematography is pretty solid. Like it's Roger Deakins. He's a favorite of mine. He's the Coen's main guy. He did Assassination of Jesse James and stuff as well. He's great. The Village also, weirdly enough. Um, that aspect's fine. However, the movie is kind of just not very good at all, and I blame the script for that because it's just so corny. And the characters, like the basic premise is, 2 years ago, like the big financial crisis happened, and in this scenario, like three, yes, three guys from different levels of this one big company get laid off. Tommy Lee Jones is kind of one of the higher ups. Chris Cooper's kind of a mid-level guy who's kind of dependent on his job like a lot for some reason, despite being like 60, so he probably should have some savings by now. But whatever. And Ben Affleck's kind of like an up-and-coming salesman or whatever. He's 12 years in, but he's not as far along as these other guys. And then it's kind of just, them moping around and feeling all sad and not, just, oh man, this sucks, oh. And varying levels of that, and it was just really just dreary, and like there's no humor in it whatsoever ever. Like, do you remember Up in the Air? Did you see that?
I didn't. That was one I've really been wanting to, though.
It's a solid movie. Like, I rewatched it recently, but like it's not amazing, but it kind of does the same stuff properly in my mind, in that it has a sense of humor. It kind of goes at it in an interesting way. It has like some solemn drama stuff that's kind of sad, but it knows it has to counter that with some fun, or else why would you keep watching it?
And some George Clooney, the handsome
and George
devil.
Clooney is just a suave dude, That guy's awesome.
Yeah, that guy. Jeez, man, I hope I'm that good looking ever.
He's like 50 or something now.
I hope I'm that good looking next year.
Yeah, no, yeah, he's doing well for himself. But I like the American 2 counter thing, just a side note. But this movie, none of the acting is really that bad though. I wouldn't blame any of them. Again, it's just the script is filled with cheesy moments. It's filled with characters that you're kind of just supposed to care about because they got fired, but it doesn't really give you any good reasons to. It's just isn't this sad? He was fired, and it's just well, not really. I mean, he's a really wealthy businessman. He has a Porsche and a giant house, and he goes golfing all the time. Maybe he should,
So it's kind of, the characters are kind of unrelatable by the sound of it.
Yeah, that's exactly my problem. It's unless you yourself are a businessman that makes a 6-figure a year salary, you won't connect with these characters. I'm assuming I didn't, so yeah. And Affleck would, I guess, be the most relatable because he's the youngest and the most kind of green to the whole thing. But he's just kind of angry and depressed the whole time, turns down opportunities because he's too good for him and stuff. It was just a needlessly downer movie that could have been a lot better. I don't know.
Is it worth seeing, in your opinion?
No, I'm gonna say no. Unless you really just want to see those actors together for some reason. I didn't give a shout out to him in the review either. Craig T. Nelson's in it, and I like that dude. He plays the kind of the big, cold-hearted businessman who only cares about the numbers. But
makes sense to me.
I know.
I mean, the coach.
Okay. I just meant I actually didn't really hate him, and the movie wanted me to. It was just no, that was a rational decision. I mean, you got cut down on redundancies, man. I mean, what was Phil really doing? That's Chris Cooper's character. Other than fretting and stuff, and the movie kind of wants us to empathize with them. Anyway, don't see it. It's not very good. That's all I got. I guess the director's name is John Wells.
What else has he done?
A bunch of TV shows, I think. He's kind of new to the whole director's thing, and he wrote the screenplay too. And
he did 1 Hour Photo.
Oh, I think he co-wrote 1 Hour Photo.
Right, yeah.
I was looking into that. I didn't hate 1 Hour Photo, but that's another conversation for another time.
Definitely.
What's next for you?
Angelina Jolie in Salt.
Oh, yeah.
I think I was talking to some people on Twitter about it. The best way we could describe it is it would have been a better comic. Like a comic series.
Oh, really? I kind of like me some motion pictures, but...
You're not big into the animated things? The animated books?
It should have been an animated film or a comic book?
No, a comic book series.
I don't hate comics at all, but I did kind of try to get into them for real a year ago and kind of came away so I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a good popcorn flick. It's nothing more. The twist or whatever is so gradually built up that you know what the twist is by the time it happens.
At some point, yeah.
Then from there, you know how it's going to end. Some really cool cinematography in it, some really cool choreography in it, actually. Liev Schreiber's okay in it, I guess. He's not in it as much as I would have liked, but,
Yeah.
Angelina Jolie is Angelina Jolie. Yeah, I don't know. It's okay. I would probably see it. I don't know if I'd buy it, but if I had the opportunity to watch it again, I probably wouldn't turn it down. Reminds me of Wanted, although I will say I like Wanted a lot more.
It has a bit more sense of humor about it all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all I really have to say about that. Have you seen it?
I did see it. I just want to say, like, I kind of was told before seeing, like, man, this is the most over-the-top movie ever. And I should never listen to that at all
Wow, really?
because,
There was nothing over the top
I
about
mean,
it.
there was, I guess, from, like, a layman's perspective, like, I guess someone jumping off of trucks onto other trucks is kind of crazy, but I do that in video games, like,
Yeah,
routinely,
but
so,
I mean, Live Free or Die
warning.
Hard, the thing with the
Yeah.
jet plane. Enough
Yeah,
said.
that was more over the top. The entirety of Ultraviolet was more over the top, which is the same writer, Kurt Wimmer. That
Yep.
movie's stupid, by the way, but
Yep.
in a way I found hilarious and kind of amazing.
I
Like, it
was
was like a late night Netflix watch, and it did what it needed to perfectly.
I always get that and Aeon Flux mixed up in my mind, even though they're not really that similar.
Yeah, I haven't seen Aeon Flux. I could see, based on the marketing, the comparison, just because
And
they
they
look kind of like weird future, kind of exaggerated future
kind of
superheroes.
came out at the same time, if I remember.
Around, yeah, I think they were both '05 or something. But yeah, that movie definitely shows that it's missing like half an hour because nothing makes sense, and that's kind of what makes it fascinating.
Yeah.
That's the same reason I love The Protector. Like, there's clearly movie missing, but you don't. It's kind of the part of the movie you don't really care about anyway, so it's just now a roller coaster ride of nonsense. But yeah,
That's it
yeah, I
for
don't know.
me.
Salt didn't do that for me. It was just, it took itself way too seriously and stuff. Like, Roger Ebert gave that 4 stars out of 4. Like, perfect.
Yeah,
I don't
that's
know.
ridiculous.
Like, I kind of like that dude, but that just seemed crazy to me. Like, nothing in that movie struck me as that amazing.
Out of 4, I'd say it's a solid 3, though.
Okay,
It's a fun
that's
time.
fair. It's a fun, like, silly time, yeah. And it ends on a fun note, so Salt 2, I don't know. But
Yeah, the ending with her and Liev Schreiber, that I really like that part. I don't know why.
yeah,
It just was so fulfilling.
it has some okay stuff in it, sure. I was reasonably entertained, but yeah, like, Wanted, if you want over the top, there's more crazy business out there. I guess my movie now,
Yeah.
or Green Hornet, the Seth Rogen, Michelle Gondry movie. Christoph Waltz also.
Okay, now this has been getting mixed reviews. A lot of people say it's actually kind of good, and a lot of people are saying it's kind of crappy. But I mean, I never really liked the source material for Green Hornet. I don't know like anything about it, and I really couldn't care less. What was your
Yeah,
overall take on it?
I think that's, like, that kind of approach to the source material has to be true of most people. Because, I mean, I know of it because I'm kind of just this invested, weird film kind of nerd. So I was reading about Bruce Lee, and, like, I've seen a few episodes, I think, but it's a really unremarkable show from the '60s. Apparently, it was like a radio play or
Well,
something
wasn't it?
before that.
Yeah, it was a radio play to begin with, and I've actually like heard some of it. I don't know. I don't like it.
It's just kind of masked vigilante justice kind of stuff. Yeah, they kind of went in a more comedy direction with it, which is the right choice, I think, at this point. And I like me some superhero comedies. I like Kick-Ass quite a bit, which is the movie it's being compared with on, like, box office sites and stuff. This isn't as satisfying as that movie, but I thought it was pretty fun. I had a really solid time with it, and I had to see it in 3D too, and that didn't ruin the experience. So, yeah.
Well, that's not bad. Movie theater or rental?
Um, I don't know. It's a fun enough kind of outing for, like, I mean, there's not really many just action comedies out there right now, fair to say, really, I guess.
I'll agree with
Yeah.
that.
So if you're looking for one of those, like, kind of reminds me, like, similar vibes, say, to, like, a Men in Black or something. Just kind of, there's guns, but there's also just silliness. But, like, kind of Starsky and Hutch, but, like, better. I don't know. It Yeah, good stuff. Christoph Waltz. I since Inglourious Bastards, like that dude's fine by me. He's having some fun here. There's an early scene with him and like a surprise cameo by James Franco that's really funny. The movie definitely kind of opens with its best kind of conceived little parody moment. It's great. Seth Rogen's fine. I kind of like that dude for the most part. I think. I mean, I watched Zack and Miri again lately, and I don't know. That movie's not that great, but he was okay. He's likable enough. But yeah, Michel Gondry, like, there's one sequence that kind of you can tell it's him. Like he does this weird kind of flashback thing with like weird like collages and strangeness. But other than that, it's kind of a straightforward action comedy. Um, I recommend it, I guess. Don't see it in 3D if you can get around it. I know personally there was only 2 theaters in the whole city that had it in 2D, and they were nowhere near me, so kind of limited by that. But yeah, that's all I really got on it. It's fun.
Right on.
What's up next?
Okay. Uh, Last Airbender, another Shyamalan joint here. Yeah,
Like,
I don't know. It gets a lot of hate. I
savage hate. Like it's at less than 10% on Rotten Tomatoes.
I
And
really
think
like
it's
the
nominated for
source
Razzies.
material quite a bit. I
Okay.
wasn't expecting them to follow the source material. I was expecting a spectacle more than anything. The acting is terrible. The people they chose for roles are terrible. The effects and look are fantastic.
Yeah, yeah. That was another kind of like I didn't see it in 3D. I saw it in 2D, and I was quite impressed by some of the special effects. Like it's Industrial Light and Magic doing their thing.
Yeah, I don't see why you would need that in 3D. Like,
Apparently, it was really badly converted too. So
I could
yeah.
see that. Yeah, I watched it on Blu-ray in my own house. I was warm and I was comfortable. That probably has a lot to do with it, where I didn't spend like $17 to go out and be bored to tears with a bunch of people that are kind of jerks.
hmm
I really enjoyed my time with it. I will not watch it again.
Okay, but yeah, I kind of came out of it like maybe a 5 out of 10 or something, 6 out of 10. But like, I definitely didn't see the horrible train wreck travesty that everyone else did. Jackson Rathbone, though, I'm gonna call out as being extremely terrible. I don't know his character's name. He's kind of the
Yeah,
main,
he was
like the
Soka.
brother. Yeah,
Soka, I don't know, something like that.
like just there's moments that are going for comedy with him, and it's not like the base joke is that terrible. Just his delivery is just really bad.
I'll
Yeah,
agree with that. I will give a shout out though. Dev Patel does really good work as Prince Zuko in that. He's the
like is it
only one
faithful
that
to the
he's the
source material or?
well, he's the only one that showed up and did acting.
Okay, because like a lot of people were ripping him apart too, and I didn't really know why. Like I thought his uncle was actually kind of cool
His
too.
uncle was good. Uncle what? Irino? I can't remember. I don't really
Dude that
care.
can shoot mad fire out of his hands. That guy was okay.
Yeah, the one that could actually
Um,
conjure fire instead of just bend it.
sure. Like I'm completely unfamiliar with the source material other than like one of the video games which I played for 10 minutes. But anyway, nothing about that. But like, does it cram a lot in there? Is that kind of a problem with it, or were you just fine with how much they
Um,
tackled?
they left out important things and kind of put in things that like were somewhat important but kind of like ridiculous, like the freeing of all the Earth tribes. Like we didn't really need to see that over and over. It was probably just easier to shoot because they didn't have to do anything except move rocks around.
hmm
But yeah, I don't know. I don't want to spend a whole lot of time on it.
Okay, but like I guess yeah, just consensus here. It's not that bad. It's like stop whipping Shyamalan all the time. He's got some skill sets. I don't know. That's
It's all in
fair
the
to say.
visual cinematography, though.
Yeah, yeah, but I don't know. There's some okay moments in it. Um,
Your
I
next
guess
one.
yeah, not much to say about this one. It was another movie for class. The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance, which is a western from 1962. Jimmy Stewart, who I'm a big fan of, and John Wayne, who I haven't seen many films of at all. It's one of John Ford's later movies. It was okay. Yeah, Lee Marvin is a dirtbag in that, and his name is Liberty Valance, and he gets shot. Um, yeah. Have you heard of this movie or nothing really?
I have. I'm actually quite a fan of like westerns and stuff like that. Um,
Like, did you see this one or?
I didn't see this one. It was one of the John Wayne ones I haven't seen. I'm actually interested. Like, are you into westerns? Because you like a lot of the spaghetti westerns. I know you loved Red Dead. Um, I
Yeah.
don't know your stance on the genre as a whole, though.
Um, like a friend, like the same friend I keep talking about. I'm just gonna name him at this point. His name's Ryan. He's a guy I see a lot of movies with. He's a huge Western fan, all the John Wayne stuff and everything. I never really grew up watching those all that much. Like I did see the Clint Eastwood spaghetti westerns. Those were pretty cool. Um, I eventually saw Unforgiven. That's a solid movie. It's not one of my favorites or anything. I was really impressed with True Grit, but that's because of my inherent love of all things Coen Brothers. That helped a lot. So I'm not sure, like it's not a genre I actively kind of pursue or anything.
Okay,
I did
what I'm
see
kind of getting
Tombstone.
at is like, as would you call yourself an outsider with the genre?
I
Somewhat.
haven't experienced most of
Okay,
John Wayne's
what did
era kind of
you
stuff.
think of it?
It was a solid movie. Like it it's definitely kind of old fashioned in its just approach, I guess. That's kind of not fair to judge an old movie about, like it's 48 years ago.
And I mean, it is a John Wayne movie. You kind of know what you're getting into when he's titled in there.
Yeah, I had no issues with him really. Like he plays like a tough American awesome guy, but they kind of do some neat stuff with that towards the end of it, like just kind of it's kind of like it has some of that kind of bookend quality, like this is the end of an era kind of thing, like the old west is fading away and it's time for a civilized society. Like that's the main kind of thing at the heart of it. Like Jimmy Stewart's this lawyer who arrives in this county and gets beaten up by thugs, and then he's like, all right, I gotta do something about this in this town and county and whatnot, but I'm not gonna use violence as my means. I'm gonna try to just educate and civilize these people. Whereas John Wayne's like, no, that'll never work. He's like a old time like gunslinger kind of guy,
Yeah,
and just kind of the clash between their kind of different approaches to dealing with Liberty Valance, this tough as nails gangster guy who's just been bullying the whole town.
do they refer to him as a scoundrel?
I don't know if they use the word scoundrel, but that's definitely the kind of uh that's definitely how they perceive him, I guess. And his bros are kind of crazy too. Like he has two guys he rolls around with, and they're just causing trouble, just throwing people's steaks on the ground and being jerks. So
Yeah.
yeah, and savage whip beatings and stuff. Uh, yeah, it was a totally solid western. I had no real issues with it other than that's kind of just not my thing for the most part. You're right though. I did really like Red Dead Redemption, so I have no issues with the kind of setting and everything. It's just I don't know. It was solid. I'm not. I might not see it again. Like it didn't strike me as anything super amazing, but it's yeah. I don't know. It's a good representation of its time and whatnot. So
Cool.
I
That's one
it's
I would
probably
like to
worth
check
seeing.
out myself.
Yeah. Like yeah, I guess I'm inherently more of a Jimmy Stewart fan just because of all his Hitchcock stuff and everything. But I have no beef with John Wayne whatsoever. I just have not seen most of his movies. We're gonna be seeing Stagecoach as well in a week or so, so I'll have more thoughts on that at
Nice.
some point. I guess how about your next two? Because I know you have more on your list than I do.
Yeah, we'll quickly go over the first one because we kind of talked a little bit about it. Is The Town.
Yeah.
The last few weeks, quite a few movies I really like have come out on Blu-ray, so
Hmm.
I've been watching those. Yeah, The Town, Ben Affleck joint, both in and out. Yeah, he's good. He, like you said, there are some scenes that he was supposed to carry a little further, and I feel he probably did fall short, but I was having a good time nonetheless.
it was kind of with me more the early goings of the relationship stuff. I just thought went really quickly.
Yeah.
In a weird kind of silly way, but it kind of just needed to establish that really fast. And I definitely chuckled at one of the lines, but we won't get into it.
And it still felt long to me at 2.5 hours.
I don't think it is 2.5 hours, is it?
Yeah, I watched the extended cut.
Oh, there's an extended cut?
Yeah, it was 2.5 hours.
Man, okay. I saw the theatrical release twice, actually, because a friend of mine, well, Ryan, the same guy, he wanted to see it. Yeah. What do they add? Because have you seen the theatrical at all?
No, but the thing they've been doing a lot lately is they have the little marker when the extended cut added scenes are there, so you know what wasn't there before.
Did any of that stuff strike you as that compelling, or?
No, more. Actually, you know what? I could see some things being a little weird without it. There a lot more build up with the different characters, especially what's his name now?
Jeremy Renner, or
sorry?
Jeremy Renner's character, or
no,
John Hamm?
Yes.
Okay, I do like me some John Hamm. So
yeah,
you're telling me there's more John Hamm.
There's a lot of parts with him like talking and stuff, which is fine because he is a really good actor and he does that role fantastically.
Yeah, I really did enjoy seeing him up on a movie screen. So, yeah, that part was all right. I wasn't the biggest Hurt Locker fan, but I thought Jeremy Renner was actually pretty good too.
Yeah, Renner was actually really good. I was pretty impressed with him.
That bit with the hockey masks was kind of cool.
Yeah, the Puerto Rican's house or something, if I remember.
Yeah, they're just like strong arming some dudes.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. Yeah, I don't know. Ben Affleck does a good job with like the homegrown Boston type stories, so he should keep doing that because he could make a better living off that, I think.
I enjoyed the opening of the movie too, actually. Like, good late title card, I would say.
Yeah.
Like, it opens with kind of just this intense heist, and then the whole setup happens, and then it's like the town.
Oh, that's what I have to give it.
That's pretty classy.
The heists are really actually pretty intense.
Like, fast-paced.
They're fast-paced, and you're just kind of like, oh crap, when stuff happens. Like, yeah, it's pretty good. And, you know, you actually feel for these guys, even though they don't build on their character a whole lot. So it's like, you don't want them to get caught, you know?
Yeah.
You want them all to get away and be happy. You want him to get out, and you want him to be with the girl. But, like...
this whole town in my rear view, or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
I also just, I thought, like, the late, great Pete Postlethwaite was actually really solid in that movie, too. I don't want to mispronounce his name. I'm not sure if I did, but you know who I mean, the florist?
Oh, yeah, I know who you mean.
He has one really just kind of great scene. He's talking about clipping nuts and whatnot, and he was intense, man. That guy was...
yeah,
did some good
like,
stuff.
You would never think a scrawny little guy like that would be that scary.
Like, up to that point in the
florist.
movie, he's just kind of been sitting there. He's just like, yeah, I'll take care of the money or whatever. And then he kind of has this great little dark character turn in the later bit of the movie, and I was quite taken by it. That was
and then all of a sudden he's just like saying how he's his bitch, like his dad, and like what he did to his mom. It's like, damn, you are scary.
He throws some dark stuff there at the end. It's pretty cool.
It's actually kind of hurtful too. Just listening to it, it's like, wow, that's a bad situation.
Yeah,
like stuff's about to go down.
Nothing good is gonna happen after this. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Solid little crime thriller. Some good end stuff with good gun battles in the streets and everything.
Yep, I definitely recommend that movie to people.
I don't know about this extended cut. I might give that a look just to see what's going on with that, because I'm quite familiar with the normal one now.
Yeah, it's. I mean, it's good. I haven't seen the normal edition, so I can't say anything. But more of it, I would assume, would be better.
That can be the case, yeah. Like, there's a couple movies I've actually only ever seen the director's cut, and I feel kind of silly about that. But anyway, what's next on your list?
The next one was one of the best movies of last year, and I think you know which one I'm talking about. Is The Social Network.
Oh, okay.
I hadn't seen it before. I was gonna go when it came out, but nobody wanted to see that Facebook movie, and I told them it's technically about the Accidental Millionaire's book, blah blah blah, but nobody listened to me. Anyways, Jesse Eisenberg, man, he's really good.
Yeah, he has some sharp dialogue stuff in that.
Um,
Some good quotable moments.
all in all, I mean, Nine Inch Nails is one of my favorite artists because I will say Nine Inch Nails is Trent Reznor with a backing band live. So Trent Reznor is like my favorite artist. Him and Atticus Ross doing the music for it was fantastic. David Fincher is one of my more favorite directors, so he did a great job. And I'm really starting to grow a fondness for Jesse Eisenberg.
Okay, I thought you were gonna say Justin Timberlake, and I was like, yeah, right. I listened to Future Sex Love.
No, Justin Timberlake was really good, but I've never had a problem with Justin Timberlake.
Okay, good. I'm glad. That guy's nothing wrong with that dude.
Dude's
How do
got
you
a
feel
sense
about
of
Andrew
humor.
Garfield, our next Spider-Man?
He will make a great Peter Parker. He did fine in this role.
Okay. Oh yeah, I guess. Oh, what's the name? I keep forgetting it. Army Hammer, I think his name is. He played the Winklevoss twins, like kind of the unsung hero of that movie, because that dude was amazing. Because like the way they did like both brothers, utterly convincing, like the whole time. Blew my mind the second time I watched it, especially.
Yeah, you know what? I didn't even really notice.
Yeah, I know. I watched it. I was just like, all right, yeah, they got two twins to. Oh, okay. So there was a stand-in. Wait, that was the same guy. That's amazing. Yeah, Army Hammer. Like good use of like CG kind of trickery and stuff. They mapped his face on both guys and whatever. Yeah, some impressive stuff there, just on a technical level. And he was really funny, also solid stuff. Aaron Sorkin. Yeah, I really like that movie. I was thinking I'm probably gonna buy that movie tonight because I haven't yet, and I'm told the Blu-ray's awesome.
It is.
Did you
The
pick it
case
up on
for it's
Blu-ray?
awesome.
People keep telling me that. It's just like, dude, the case is awesome. It's like, what do you mean? Like, it's a Blu-ray case. What could it possibly do? And like, no, you gotta check this out. So I'll do that.
Okay, I think it's been built up a little too much for you, but it's pretty neat.
Okay, so I'm not gonna buy it and just be like, I can't believe this. This is amazing.
It's not gonna like shave your face for you.
I am sometimes actually really impressed by some box art and stuff. Like Princess Bride, there's this one that you can flip it upside down and you can read it.
Yeah, and
I
great
just
movie.
flipped that thing for 10 minutes just looking at it. Just like, this is really stylish font. This is awesome. But anyway, Social Network, fantastic.
Yeah, that's one
You're right
everyone
about
has to
the
see.
soundtrack also. I bought that like as soon as I got home after watching it the first time because it's really really slick.
Well, seriously, the soundtrack is Nine Inch Nails. There's
Yeah.
no getting around that because I mean the two major Nine Inch Nails dudes do the soundtrack.
Wait, is Atticus part of that whole thing too?
He did a lot of the production and stuff back in the day.
Oh, okay, I did not know that connection as well. He also did the Book of Eli score.
Yeah, he
As
did.
well. So those dudes, cool stuff. They won the Golden Globe, so maybe they'll pick up that Oscar. I don't know.
They definitely deserve it. Your
I
next
guess
one.
last one for me was, yeah, it's fair to say, Steven Soderbergh's first like narrative feature. He did a documentary apparently in like '85, Sex Lies and Videotape, which I watched yesterday.
I had been meaning to see that when that came out. That came out, well, not when it came out, but
not
when
it
I
came
was,
out in '89.
yeah, when I was, I think must have been like 15 or something.
Like DVD release or something, or
I think it was on Showcase, and I just missed it.
okay.
Yeah.
I guess my thoughts on it, like, we were kind of posed with an interesting exercise to kind of compare it to Ocean's 11 in terms of structure and whatnot, because they're kind of his most different movies, I guess.
You know, if Ocean's 11 had James Spader.
I like James Spader. I'm gonna say now.
Yeah, he's creepy
I have no
though,
problems
man.
with that guy's whatsoever. Like Secretary, Crash. Like, yeah, he does weird stuff, but I don't know. He's fine. And yeah, he's kind of a weird, creepy guy in this one too. But yeah, the movie's fine. It kind of reminded me of more recent stuff like American Beauty and Little Children, like that kind of just adult sexual drama. Andie MacDowell is kind of just not a good actress though, and she's kind of the center of this movie, so she definitely hurts it.
So she's like a leading role in this one?
She's, yeah, like, I mean, it is kind of a, what would you call it? an ensemble kind of thing. There's four main characters, but she's kind of at the center of it all. And
Yeah, she's not that good in general.
something, yeah, like it's not like anything she was doing was especially bad. It was just like there was little moments that required like just
More.
a little extra authenticity or something, and it wasn't there. I I don't know, but I kind of went in a little bitter towards her because like she's the worst part of Groundhog Day and stuff. So
Yeah,
like that movie is otherwise kind of amazing. Like
I
the
really
story
like
is
that movie
fantastic.
a lot.
Yeah, like I own that movie. That movie's great, but if it had someone just with a little more life and personality in it or something, it would have been so much better. But whatever. This movie, yeah, it's fine. It's you know, betrayal and all that. To like, what would you say? Just this married couple who's having some problems, and this old friend James Spader comes into town and kind of disrupts things and reveals like their dishonesties and whatnot. He videotapes people, interviews them about sex and stuff. I don't think I really need to get into a plot synopsis of like a 20-year-old movie, but I thought it was okay. Steven Soderbergh, he's a fairly talented man. I watched The Informant again recently. I really like that movie. So yeah, that I don't know. He you can see that talent that long ago. Just it's kind of a pity Andy McDowell's the star. But yeah. What final films do you have
Okay,
down
I
the
have
week?
three final ones. I'll kind of quickly skim them. One of my favorite movies last year. It's not a very good movie in general. It's a good throwback to the B horror grindhouse scene. Piranha 3D.
Okay.
Came out on Blu-ray at the same time as Social Network, and it actually came out on high def 3D for all those fancy schmancy 3D TVs people have.
Okay.
Yeah, boobs and blood. That's all that movie is, and piranhas attacking people in ridiculous ways. It is one of the better movies of last year.
Uh, I had an okay time with it. Like I definitely support it in spirit, and I will most assuredly see Piranha 3 Double D, which is an amazing title.
Yep.
And completely appropriate. And like seeing Richard Dreyfuss up front as just kind of this weird Jaws throwback was good. You didn't see it in 3D though. That definitely hurt the experience for me, right? Like
No, I've
you
seen it in
just watched
3D.
it.
I saw it when it
Oh,
came
you did?
out.
Didn't it look terrible? Kind of.
Yeah, it was really bad. Like, there was halos around everybody,
Like
and
the
everything
opening
was
sequence,
distorted.
like it was just like doubling up and looking all really just blurry and gross. And
No, that actually
yeah,
happened throughout the whole movie, not just the beginning.
yeah. It just especially struck me because that was a big effect sequence with the whirlpool, and it was just like, man, this just looks really bad. I kind of just wish this wasn't in 3D, despite the campy goofiness of that whole thing.
That's actually the
I
one I saw with John.
okay,
He enjoyed it, I guess.
yeah,
He was
it's
loud.
okay. It's a fun, stupid movie. Like people in it, I like Christopher Lloyd on a screen. That's something I can get behind. I like Adam Scott, Elizabeth Shue is kind of the big star.
Yeah,
Well, the big main the main character's mom, Ving Rhames,
I was gonna say
showing
the
up.
best part is Ving Rhames with the shotgun
That wasn't
sniping
bad,
fish.
and his big boat motor thing that he's doing. Like he just rips off that boat motor and is chopping up piranhas. His guts fly everywhere.
Yeah,
Um,
that was really good.
who was like the weird Girls Gone Wild guy? Like who played him?
Jerry O'Connell, he probably did the best acting ever in that.
He was just ridiculous and coked up and just yeah, it was fun.
But
I'm
isn't
not
that
gonna
like
take
his
that away.
role in a lot of stuff?
I don't
He's
know.
always like that guy, like the frat house guy.
Okay, well he nailed it in this one as well.
Oh, totally. He did a good job, I thought. I don't know, I didn't mind him. One of the big draws for me was Kelly Brook, but I mean, we all know why.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, like that sequence is just so
Okay, yeah, that
ridiculous.
sequence we don't even need to talk about, but it is hilarious. I couldn't stop laughing and feeling uncomfortable sitting next to John.
Yeah, yeah.
Like,
Seeing
wow.
that with a crowd and it's kind of weird, but it's pretty funny. The music choice for that scene too. I had a yeah. I kind of wish it went even crazier maybe or the 3D. I think my main issue was the 3D. So yeah, but no, totally fair, totally fun movie.
And in that
What
respect,
else?
the next movie was Speed Racer.
All
Um,
right.
one I hadn't seen and dismissed until I saw a trailer for it again. When it came out on Blu-ray or whatever, I was looking at a trailer for it, and yeah, it's really colorful, and that is a really good movie to have on Blu-ray. Like,
Yeah, that's kind of the thing. Like, I didn't like that monkey. I thought its sense of humor was really silly,
well, it's like
but
the old
it's
cartoon, right?
I have no
It's
knowledge of
very
the old cartoon.
campy and like, yeah, I don't know. It serves as a good speed racer, like to the source material. It's all about the look for that movie though, because it's a dumb story. I mean, it's racing. Everything is CG. Uh, it's
The editing style in it though is kind of amazing. Like just stuff sliding around and just revealing it. Like I don't know. It has a great sense of
it has
style
a
to
great
it.
like F-Zero style to it.
Yeah, sure. It's
It's
yeah.
just fun. I mean, there's
Like
nothing
I
else
own
to
it
say.
too. I picked it up pretty cheap on Blu-ray just for that reason. It's just a unique spectacle. I still don't know how it got made. Like who was like, oh yeah, no, totally, 120 million dollars to remake this old series. That's money well
Well,
spent.
I mean, Wachowski brothers, dude. They
I
can print
guess,
money after the Matrix.
but like those had diminishing returns, right? Like Revolutions was the worst of the bunch.
Yeah, but they
Not
made
only
so much
critically,
off the Matrix, the first one. Who cares, right?
I
And V
guess
for
I
Vendetta was, I don't know what, I don't know if it was like a success at the
considered
box office, but
exactly.
a lot
It
of
did
people,
okay.
yeah, a lot of people went to see that.
Although that's kind of yeah, that's I guess part of their whole film. Like they just wrote it, adapted it, but whatever. Um, okay, I yeah, Speed Racer. I don't I think their next movie, if they're are they working on something? They have to be, right?
Um,
I'm just thinking they're
yes,
gonna have
they are.
troubles
I
because
can't
that was
remember what's
definitely
called.
a bit of a box office disappointment.
But yeah, Speed Racer, good spectacle if you have a Blu-ray player. It's the reason why you have a Blu-ray player. Everything in it is nice. Um, finally, the other night, actually, I finally saw Matchstick Men. That movie is
Okay,
really good,
yeah, yeah,
and
it's a good
Nick
movie.
Cage is top notch in it as usual.
But like legitimate, like it's actually a character he can dig into. It's not one of the crazy
Yeah, no,
stuff
I
he does.
wasn't being sarcastic or anything. He was doing his good Nick Cage.
Uh huh.
Um,
Like yeah,
yeah, I don't know.
I like
Sam
all Nick
Rockwell was
Cage, but
good.
yeah.
He's could have been in it a little bit more, but I mean, he's fine. The amount he is. I
Hmm.
can't remember that kid's name.
Alison Lohman.
Yes, yeah, she's
What's
really
weird is
good.
she's like 23 or something in that movie.
Yeah, the whole like change of her change from like what she is to the end or
Yeah.
whatever. That was kind of striking. Like
Yeah. No.
she looks a lot older. Um, yeah, I don't know. It's really good. That's probably not a movie I'm gonna talk much more about because if people haven't seen it, I would hate to have that one ruined for me.
Yeah. No. It's a fun little Ridley Scott kind of con man and
And it's
yeah,
very cleverly written,
and kind of dealing with some obsessive compulsive tendencies and stuff as well. Like there's that
which Nick
side to
Cage
his
did
character.
really well as usual.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
The eye
That's
twitch.
a yeah. Some good stuff. It's a great movie. Is that was there one more?
No, that was the last one.
All right. So yeah, that's what we've been watching, I guess. I guess brief, just kind of news segment. Um, we'll briefly touch on it. Golden Globes happened. I didn't watch them, but
Yeah, I didn't
did you
either.
watch them? Yeah, no. I don't. I just checked my Twitter and people were like, "Oh, hey, this is happening" and whatever. The fallout from that, like Ricky Gervais is getting into a lot of just weird accusations and stuff of just going too far, insulting too many people. I don't know. I thought it was kind of funny from the YouTube clips I saw, but it's kind of weird seeing him do that. In terms of the awards themselves, though, I'm hoping this maybe pans out. Like Social Network won Best Picture. Uh, I'd be okay with that actually happening.
Have you seen The King's Speech? Because apparently, didn't
I
Colin
did.
Firth win something for that?
Yeah, he won Best Actor, and I'm not happy about that at all. I am.
Really? How is The King's Speech? Just as a quick offshoot.
I ended up reviewing that movie. It is pure and pure, like it is an Oscar bait movie. Like it is that movie for this season. Like it's totally inoffensive. It's just a lighthearted little drama kind of thing with some historical roots and whatever. It's
But it's not gutsy or anything.
No, it doesn't do anything like remotely ambitious or interesting really. It's just a solid kind of down the line historical drama slash kind of comedy. The one thing I will say, Jeffrey Rush is fantastic. Like he's just a really fun, lively character that is really just fun to be around. He plays the kind of speech coach, Lionel Logue, I think his name is.
Okay.
Um, like if anyone deserves any kind of Oscar consideration for that entire production, it is him. The direction I found just really bland. Like the movie, it's super gray like the whole time. I don't know if that's just because London has a lot of fog or something, but
They do. And rain.
like, does it get inside or something too? Because like every time it's an interior, it just looks a little washed out too. It was weird.
It
I
would
don't know if that
explain a
was
lot if it did.
yeah, like maybe that's just a kind of choice because like oh it's the eve of the war, things weren't going so well. But like the first hour of that movie is basically a comedy. Like make it look like one too. I don't know. I was quite underwhelmed by it. Like it definitely doesn't deserve the kind of ridiculous praise and top 10 lists and 12 BAFTA nominations or whatever. 14 maybe. Colin Firth was totally fine, but nothing like I guess he did a stammer pretty well. That's all I can really say. But he never kind of became anything other than oh yeah, there's Colin Firth being Colin Firth. I don't know. Whatever. Like James Franco. Did you see 127 Hours?
No, yeah, there's so many movies I've been wanting to see, but I don't like going to them alone, just because I like to talk to people after about them.
Yeah, yeah. Just that I would say like Eisenberg for sure. Like stronger, just kind of stuff. Like I'm thinking this may just be kind of like, Colin Firth's kind of old. He's been acting for a while. It's time we give him a break or something. And apparently last year, A Single Man was really awesome, so maybe they feel he got snubbed that time. I haven't seen that yet, so I don't know if that's a fair thing. I kind of wish that wasn't a thing that happens with awards, but it totally does. Like where it's like, sorry about last year. Here you go. And it's just like, no, what? Not. Oh, trying to think of a good example. Like I know Jack Lemmon won for some totally unremarkable performance in something. Anyway, yeah, no, King's Speech, not all that. If that ends up winning a lot of big stuff, I will be quite disappointed.
I was pretty happy to hear that my boy Paul Giamatti got something, though.
Yeah, I like Paul Giamatti a lot. I haven't seen Barney's version.
Me neither. I don't know. I don't really care to see it. I'll probably see it, like, in the privacy of my own home. I don't want to go out.
Yeah, I I like Dustin Hoffman too, but like the trailers for that movie are just really nondescriptive and weird. I don't really know what it's about. Like it's like a guy gets married and then meets someone else, and it's that whole dilemma, I guess. I don't know. But yeah,
Yeah.
the Golden Globes happened. Yeah, he won Best Actor for a comedy, right?
Yes.
That was the thing.
Have you seen
I,
The Fighter?
I did.
How is it?
It's I actually quite liked it. It is a fairly kind of conventional boxing drama, I guess. Like
$1 Million Baby type?
um I wouldn't look at that as that conventional because that goes all weird and dark at the end. It's very Rocky, Raging Bull.
Okay.
Well, not even Raging Bull because Raging Bull kind of goes dark at the end too. It's just the guy the guy who's getting pushed around by his family and has this bad legacy of his brother being like a coked up crazy man.
Works hard and
Um,
wins.
Manages to, buckle down and train, and he gets himself an awesome, supportive girlfriend in Amy Adams, who's really awesome in the movie. Just got some spark, some fire. It's cool. There's some good clashes between her and his mom, Melissa Leo. She actually won Best Supporting Actress, which, sure, why not? I mean, she was fine. Just, yeah, she's a bitch, man. She's
Yeah.
terrible. She's just yeah, making bad decisions and pushing her son to do weird stuff. Wahlberg is kind of the unsung, kind of quiet guy. Like Christian Bale kind of gave him a shout out in his acceptance speech. His award totally deserved, by the way. Like going in, like, he's done the kind of weight loss thing before, like The Machinist,
Yep.
but here he just kind of, it's not only that, like his Boston accent, his mannerisms, his kind of enthusiasm and everything. He does a really really solid job. But yeah, he does give kind of a shout to Mark Wahlberg as being kind of like the unsung kind of the quiet performance, so his performance kind of can shine all that much more because he's kind of the straight man and he's kind of the off the wall crazy one, which is definitely the case. Wahlberg's totally fine in it too. He bulked up real good. I kind of like him. In general, I guess. I mean, The Happening was a bad movie. Max Payne was terrible.
Yeah, I would prefer not to talk about Wahlberg at this time. There's too much to say.
Okay, okay. Just he's good here. David Russell, like outside of the stuff, like his YouTube videos yelling at Lily Tomlin and stuff, that stuff's terrible. But of the two movies I've seen of his, I've only seen Three Kings and now this. He's okay. He's a solid director. Some good flair to it. Um, yeah. Good movie. I had no problems with either of those wins either.
Right on. Social Network picked up a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
Well deserved.
I kind of yeah, like I guess I wish it picked up the main acting one maybe too, but whatever. David Fincher, I hope he finally gets his best director this year. Like that was kind of the thing. Like Zodiac, maybe my favorite movie of his, not nominated for anything at all because no one pushed for it because it came out in like March or something. I don't know your feelings on that movie, but I was quite
Yeah,
by it.
it's actually not bad. That's one we can discuss again at some point.
I periodically watch it, so yeah, I'm sure it'll come out.
Kind of surprised Inception didn't do anything,
Yeah,
but you know what? There was a lot of good stuff that came out right at the tail end here.
Inception's kind of a weird one for me because like I saw it once and was quite impressed by it, but that's the only time I've seen it, and I kind of just don't remember. Like it's on my top 10 list just because it's like a unique giant spectacle, and I can't think of anything that was that really wrong with it. But I definitely need to revisit it. I don't. It definitely didn't strike me as like the most, amazing movie of the year though. So
Yeah.
that's just me. Um. Anyway, I guess on Nolan specifically, there was some new news about the next Batman film that came out today.
Yep.
Today, as in January 19th. Just
Right, just to
destroy that illusion
clarify,
right off the bat.
the Twitterverse has been blowing up about it. I don't know if you've been privy to this or not.
Yeah, I've
Uh,
definitely seen some of that. That's actually where I first heard about it and then read up on the details. Do you want to get into the specific two bombs that were dropped?
yeah, first of all, Catwoman, Anne Hathaway.
Yeah.
I really like Anne Hathaway. I don't think she's a great actress, but I think she's cute.
Okay, fair enough. I
Yeah,
hated Devil Wears Prada. I will say that.
I bought that. I haven't seen it yet.
Okay, I don't know if it was just like some sort of mood I was in or something, but that movie did nothing for me at all. Despite like me liking most of the people in it, like Stanley Tucci and Meryl Streep are some fine actors right there, but
Yeah, I heard
no.
Streep goes all out in that one.
She's like it's kind of like a weird kind of. It's apparently based on some real fashion person, but I was just reminded of Cruella de Vil the whole time.
Mm,
Which isn't probably what they were going for, but whatever. She has like one really good scene where she kind of just stops like putting up the walls and being all like just stomping on people's dreams and stuff, and then just kind of has a bit of a heart to heart. That was okay. But anyway, um, yeah, Anne Hathaway's Catwoman. Um, I'm not gonna say that's a bad choice because like this is the thing. Like someone pointed out on Twitter, like what was your reaction when you first heard Heath Ledger was gonna play the Joker?
I was okay with it.
Okay, whereas I was like, the 10 things I hate about you guy, this sucks.
Wow,
What
really?
happened to Mark Hamill? Like I was all like weirdly upset about it, and
See,
then of course that movie came out and he was fantastic.
my thing was that off of Brokeback Mountain, I was like, this dude's probably going to try to reclaim his name. I bet he's going to give the performance of his life, and unfortunately, because of his timely demise, he did.
Yeah, the whole depression. Yeah, that was. Yeah, as unfortunate. I found that kind of weird that this is like yet another Brokeback Mountain star is going to be stepping into the roles of the shoes of a Batman villain.
Yeah,
How about that?
why don't you go ahead and say the name?
Anne Hathaway, we already talked about her. She's
Oh,
worthy of
yeah,
mention.
okay. Sorry, I thought we were going on to the other one.
Michelle Williams, like no, she's not to
Yeah.
my knowledge. Tom Hardy is his presence in the movie has already been confirmed, but the character is apparently Bane,
Yeah.
which my Ryan again, my comic obsessed friend, hates that idea, but I don't know. My only like encounters with Bane at all are the entirely terrible Batman and Robin bits he's in,
Yeah.
and the video game Arkham Asylum. So I don't really know much about him.
Yeah, Bane's a character that can be done pretty good. He's kind of like the big guy, but like he's not an idiot, even though
So
like
he's kind of hawkish, but he maintains his like mental faculties, I suppose.
right, like yeah, I don't know really. Like I'm not huge into the backlog of Bane, and that was kind of after I got out of reading
Yeah, that was
comics
kind of mid
heavily.
'90s stuff. I think was when he was
But like
introduced.
Batman and Robin does a giant disservice to anybody who thinks that or who hasn't heard of Bane because yeah, they make him look like a retard.
Yeah, like he's just a muscle-bound crazy man in that. And this is Tom Hardy, like from Inception and whatnot. I've actually been meaning to see one of his earlier films, Bronson. But
Yeah, I've been meaning to see that too. I haven't
I
seen
finally
Rock
saw
and
the
Rolla
trailer for it.
either.
Which one?
Rock and Rolla.
Oh no, I never did see that. I'm not a big Guy Ritchie fan, but I heard that
Yeah,
was
me
kind of
neither.
okay. But yeah, Bane, like comic people are kind of flipping out about it. Again, though, like I, Christopher Nolan has proven himself before. I'm still totally fine with his decisions. I thought there was talk early on that they would never do Catwoman because it's just too weird, but like too cheesy and too close to the Halle Berry travesty.
Right. Well, what I find weird about Catwoman is that I've never found her to be really a villain. She's more of just kind of like a vigilante, but like that takes things differently than Batman does.
Right.
Where
Like I
he
guess it
goes
could.
more for the good, she goes more for herself.
The one thing is like Batman was definitely kind of downplayed in the last movie because there was just too much going on.
Yeah.
This would at least give him like an interesting love interest that would play into his Batman side of things as well as perhaps his, Bruce Wayne things. They've done that before, obviously, like Batman Returns, but Nolan's take on it, you're right. Anne Hathaway's mad cute. I saw that movie Havoc. It's not bad.
Yeah, I want to see it.
It's not good, but it's not bad.
Yeah, totally. Anyway.
Um, huh. Yeah, this could pan out. It is kind of weird. I was expecting it to go in a bit of a different direction, like people were saying Hugo Strange and stuff with Tom Hardy. That could be cool too, but
Yeah, I could see that, I guess. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I can't see Tom Hardy as Bane, but
I was just thinking, like,
I
what
don't know.
if you took like the weird transformation stuff like really seriously? Like that could be really messed up and kind of just gross and disturbing. So
Right, because you
that
know if
could be cool.
Nolan's gonna do it, he's not gonna go the cheesy, campy way that they did with like the
Schumacher
goo
did, yeah.
puffing him out so he looks like he's like a little kid with a giant shirt with water in it.
Right.
They're gonna go like insane where like I don't know, he's probably on steroids and then like change his color from like some miscalculation of something or blah blah blah. I don't know.
There's different ways they could do of it. Like if they treat it kind of like a horror kind of scenario, that could be messed up. And maybe they'll straight up do the broken back thing. I don't know. Who knows? That was kind of the big Bane thing that everyone keeps talking about.
Yeah, and you know it would make sense. I don't know how many movies they signed up for. I thought it was only 3. Maybe it
Like
was
The Nolans specifically,
Nolan
John
and
and his brother.
Bale and whatnot.
Right.
That
This
would be
could
a
be a
good way
good
to
movie.
like not end it, but maybe like I don't know, put him in like a coma or something until like they decide to come back to it. I don't know. It would be a good way to segue into either something else like spin-offs with Batman out of commission, or to end the series completely.
That'd be weird, dire ending to a summer blockbuster. That'd be awesome.
Yeah,
It's just
and
like,
you know what?
no,
If
he's just
anyone
like,
could pull it off, it would be
Alfred's
Nolan.
still there. Yeah. I mean, Alfred's gonna look after him, but no, he's bedridden now.
Yeah, exactly.
Kind of
Crime
sad.
has run rampant, and then they could go into something else,
Yeah.
like
I guess they
Superman.
did. I think maybe the thing they said they would never do is Robin, which is probably a good idea.
Yeah, I've never had a problem with Robin.
I had a problem with Chris O'Donnell, I guess. But,
Yes, I had a problem with him. I've never had the problem of like the protege to the vigilante.
uh-huh. Like, I mean, Dark Knight Returns, like, the book did that okay.
Right.
The weird little girl
They
who
could
was
do it okay. I think it's something that has so much camp behind it from years of abuse, we'll say, from the Adam West series, even the old World's Greatest Detective comics until he became Nightwing. Of course, Schumacher. Anyways, yeah, I think it has too much camp value already that it would be hard to bring people around on it. So I'm kind of glad they're sticking away from it.
Yeah, like that's like that was kind of my fears, I guess, that led me to believe they would never do Catwoman or Bane, I guess, because they have all that camp kind of stuff for recent years. But no one saw Catwoman. Like I never saw it, so that's probably not a really big threat. And that Schumacher movie, no one talks about it anymore. So except George Clooney periodically, just as a joke.
Because he knows he ruined Batman's name with that film, and he's okay with it because he knows.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, I don't know. Like, people are upset obviously because that's what they do. But I mean, he's proven himself before. I think this will be a pretty entertaining movie. And
I agree.
Plenty of Batman. So hey.
Gonna go out on a limb. I'll take Tom Hardy out of for Bane. Take Bane out completely. Christina Hendricks as Poison Ivy. That's what I'm talking about.
I mean, she's apparently not a natural redhead, which is kind of weird.
I'm okay with that. I think it would just be great to have two femme fatales in one of these Batman flicks finally.
Yeah, I like Christina Hendricks a great deal. Like Mad Men and everything is awesome. Firefly, but that would seem to go a little camp maybe. Just like sexy dames being all wily. I don't know.
I think Nolan would find a way to pull it off.
Maybe.
I have infinite amount of faith in that dude, as you can tell.
Sure, we'll just like come up with weird, bizarre casts.
Well, I mean, seriously, like, what has he messed up so far? He's had a pretty spotless career.
Pretty stellar track record, yeah. I'm sure, yeah, like, it's hard to be like, what's your least favorite Nolan film?
It's like, I don't know, Memento was great, Batman Begins was great, Prestige was great, Dark Knight was great, Inception was amazing. I don't know. Like, I guess all of them except for.
If I had to choose, like, it might actually be Memento just because it was talked up so much or something. But
really, see, I would probably go Prestige just because I think Memento did things better. I thought like Memento was
timeline stuff, or
yeah, it was more gutsy as a film.
Maybe it's just like I'm not a big Guy Pearce fan. I'm a big Hugh Jackman fan, so that helps a lot.
Hugh Jackman is pretty great, not gonna lie.
Real Steel, that's what I'm talking about.
Real Steel.
Hilarious and awesome. And with that, I don't know. That's all I got. Is there anything else, like last minute stuff you want to talk about,
or? Poison Ivy, Christina Hendricks.
Okay. I mean,
2012.
More stuff with Christina Hendricks wouldn't be a bad thing, but I don't know. I think she's fine as what's her name? Feel bad now. Character on Mad Men, what's her first name?
Joan? Wait.
Right.
What?
Yeah, it's Joan. Sorry. Just what is Roger call? It doesn't matter. Mad Men's a great show. That's all I got. Thanks for joining us on Mystery Movie Podcast. That's not bad.
Mystery Movie Podcast?
Then it's like the whole premise of it is like, what's the mystery movie? We'll come up with something, but thanks for joining us on this rambly podcast of movie talking. Yeah.
Yep.
All right.
All right. I'm Paul, I guess.
And this is Nathan. Catch you next time.
See ya.